Greetings! Today I would like to tell you about a project of mine called New Music for New Musicians. As a concert pianist, I've been performing new music for many years. It's a wonderful feeling to work with composers and bring music to life, and so I began to wonder if there was a way to get my students, the new musicians, in on the fun. New music for most of my students, and I should mention I don't teach in a conservatory, is pop music. They're definitely aware that newly composed classical music exists because I make a point of performing it for them, but they tend to view it as very difficult and just for very advanced students or professionals. Are they wrong? Composers who wrote the works that I played didn't have any pieces that were less formidable, and so my new musicians couldn't really hope to join this party. It got me thinking. There used to be a tradition of composers writing smaller scale, less difficult pieces along with their major works. But when I asked some composers if they would consider doing this, they thought it would be artistically constraining. But aren't there always constraints? A commission for an opera is constrained by vocal ranges and by the text. A commission for a brass ensemble is limited in instrumentation. And there's the difference. Those works are commissions and they're paid. Composers need to earn a living, and it would seem there's no money in writing for students. Or is there? I thought that the families of new musicians would be happy to pay for a piece. It just never occurred to them. They didn't know any composers, and they never imagined that anyone would like to write a piece for their kid. But wouldn't it be great if new musicians joined the ranks of professionals in commissioning new works? I proposed this idea to Malika Fitzhugh, a composer whose works I've enjoyed performing for many years. Mel was enthusiastic and welcomed this new challenge. My students were enthusiastic. They felt honored to work with a real composer and excited to have a new piece, a formal composition just for them, like the famous Elise. They wanted in, and so we began. The composer has to consider the current skills and experiences of the student as well as the student's interests and temperament. And so there are meetings with me to set parameters and meetings with the student to play and experiment, discuss ideas, get to know each other, and later to hear the new musician's impressions of the piece, decide on dynamic markings, or rework a passage. In one meeting, Mel asked my 8-year-old student Judy if she would enjoy a piece with 5 or 7 beats to a measure rather than 3 or 4. Judy's eyes got wide with excitement and glee and said, "You can do that?" I saw Mel also rubbing her hands together with glee. For me, this project combines my performing with my teaching, wrapping students into the process that we professionals take for granted. Malika Fitzhugh plays a role in educating my students directly through her creative work as a composer. The students love being collaborators and have stepped up to some really hard work. They're no longer just students, but musicians, young artists, contributors with a seat at the table. And now I'd like to share some of their music, which will later be published by New Music for New Musicians for everybody to learn and enjoy. Live concerts, of course, are on hold due to the pandemic, but 3 of my students have made video recordings to share with you now. I hope you've enjoyed those pieces. I began this project with my friend and colleague Malika Fitzhugh, but the plan is to include other composers and teachers. So please contact me if you would like more information. My email address is info@newmusicfornewmusicians.com. I'll leave you now with a photo of our youngest new musician to join the project. Her name is Judy Laurie Lubin, and this photo is her first meeting with Malika Fitzhugh. Her piece, For Judy, is in progress, and yes, it is 5 beats to a measure.